Is the Martian Jasson Dominguez landing on a baseball field near you soon? I have the answer to that and much more on today's action packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB or at LO_FantasyMLB. Also, Matt Ane has the night off, so let's give him a well-rested night off as he has been covering so much for me recently. But if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel and gives notification every time you drop a new episode. And also, if you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us as well. And you know what? Most importantly to Matt and I, join us on the Subtext platform. The link to our Subtext is in our bio wherever you're watching or listening, or available on all of our social media platforms. On Subtext, it's an in-depth personalized experience with text messaging alerts right to your phone. Guys, it's great this time of year, with the Skeens call up and, Jasson Dominguez may be coming soon. You really want to join us on the Subtext platform. I can't recommend it enough. But guys, today we are covering a bunch of prospects that could be on their way soon and some that we just need to keep our eyes on. And then also we got a bunch of injured players that you need to stash that might be making their way back soon as well. For today's episode, we are going to start on the prospect side of things. And, I can't bury the lead much longer. Jasson Dominguez, not like I buried that lead at all. I kind of led with it, if anything. But Jasson Dominguez is, 21-year-old, Yankee prospect, outfielder. Absolutely love the kid. Has had a very weird trajectory so far. When he first, was making some, notoriety, was a high-end prospect, can't miss, absolutely monster. But then when he came over to the States, started playing in the minors, really didn't, have the great first season in 2021. Where, he only had 252 over 56 games with 5 homers and 9 steals. Then, in 2022, really picked it up and, at 273, 16 homers, 37 steals. And we're like, all right, this is the guy that, we were starting to think about when we saw him all those years ago. As a young prospect. But in 2023, really, took it to another level. 265 over 118 games, had 15 homers, 40 steals. And, when Jasson Dominguez, came up to the Yankees last year in 2023, through 8 games, he had 4 homers, a steal, 2 walks to 8 strikeouts, really just looked like he could at least hold his own in the big leagues as far as power went. And I don't think it's a joke because, this kid really has that pedigree. Not a big body guy at 5'9", 190, but it's not about how big you are. It's about how you swing that bat. And Jasson Dominguez really excels at that, has a great launch angle on the ball. And I think in that Yankees lineup, as soon as he's ready to go, they're saying he's about 2 weeks away from rehab games. I think maybe 10, 15, 20 games, Yankees might get him up there after that. In the lineup, they could use, another bat hitting. I know they are, playing great so far, but, you never could, miss out on a bat like Jasson Dominguez right in the middle of that Yankees lineup. And I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than we think. Jasson Dominguez is currently 25% owned on Yahoo. And if you have the room, if you have the, actually he's on the 60-day IL. So that's a sneaky add too. He's not even NA. So if you happen to have an extra IL spot or unlimited IL spot, so you can go out there and grab him. I know it's so tough this year with all of the injuries, but Jasson Dominguez is definitely, a young prospect that could really make an impact on all fantasy teams this year. Let's move on to an Orioles prospect. Why not? That Orioles minor league system is the absolute best in baseball, in my opinion. Let's talk about Coby Mayo. Coby Mayo is down in the minors right now, absolutely mashing. The Baltimore team might not be like a great spot for the young Kobe Mayo, but with the way he's performing right now, I don't know how much more we could hold him back, and he's in AAA right now too. So Mayo's numbers on the year: 285 batting average, 36 games, 11 home runs, 3 steals. He has 15 walks to 48 strikeouts, which isn't atrocious. It's not great, but it's not, you could live with that in today's day and age. 8 doubles and 2 triples as well. Kobe Mayo, just a corner infielder that really excels. This is a big guy. We went from Jasson Dominguez 5'9". How about Kobe Mayo 6'5", 230? Big beefy baseball boy. And honestly, like I said, there's not really a great spot. Let's kind of go look over that Baltimore lineup again and see if even if there's any sort of hole, which we kind of already know that there's not too much of one there. But at first to have O'Hearn, maybe you can make a little bit of room there. Mountcastle's DHing. I guess if they really wanted to, Ramon Urias at third, there's a way. There's a way to make it happen, actually. Now that you go in there and you really do that deep dive on it, there's a way. And like I said, Kobe Mayo has that prospect pedigree, big beefy baseball boy, somebody that you really want to at least throw on that watch list, because if this guy gets the call, honestly, he is 9% owned at the moment, and I already see in a couple of my leagues people have added him, so you might want to just make sure you keep an eye on Kobe Mayo from the Baltimore Orioles. Let's go on with somebody you guys might be a little bit more familiar with here, as we're really cooking through the first couple names here. Let's talk about Miguel Vargas. Miguel Vargas is a guy who's already been in the big leagues, but somebody that hasn't really, shown it. He's actually 1% owned on Yahoo right now. So like I said, Vargas, Los Angeles Dodgers, he's been playing, some second base. And this is a guy that really does have an opportunity with Gavin Lux, really struggling out of the gate, hitting under 200, under the Mendoza line, if you will. Miguel Vargas, he did exceed his rookie limits back in 2023, but in my eyes, hardly a seasoned player at this point. Played 81 games last year and 18 games in 2022, but really didn't do much, didn't really get a fair shake. He wasn't playing every day, was really getting that Dodgers treatment, how they sometimes treat their younger players and even older players. We've seen it a lot with them over the years, but only got 256 at bats last year, hit 195. Did have 7 homers though. That was a little bit of a bright spot in a dark season there for Vargas. But also did have 38 walks to 61 strikeouts. That's actually really cool too. But with Vargas, the main reason I did want to bring him up again, besides Gavin Lux struggling, is that he's excelling down in AAA this year. Miguel Vargas, 33 games. 122 at-bats, 29 runs, 11 doubles, a triple, 7 homers, 30 RBIs, 8 steals, 25 walks to 29 strikeouts with a 287 batting average. This kid, Miguel Vargas, it really can swing the bat, has had nothing but success, down in the minors. So this is a kid, if it really clicks, the power's real. He'll chip in a little bit of speed, and the batting average has potential to be plus with a guy like Miguel Vargas on a very good Los Angeles Dodgers team with the boys, Ohtani, Freeman, Betts. We all know the routine around there. So that's what we got on Miguel Vargas. But before we move on, I have a really great starting pitcher for you guys. I have a couple really great starting pitcher for you guys. And you're gonna really love the names on the second half of this episode. But before that, I do have a quick ad break for you guys. And guys, we're talking about our friends at Stitch Fix. That instant confident boost you get from an outfit that makes you look really good. That's what I get with Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. I don't like to shop, and they save me that time and effort. Plus, I get outfits that make me look and feel really good. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes and when I want and how I want. No subscriptions required, and they send 5 just for me. Pieces plus outfit. I keep what works and send back the rest. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are super easy and always free. Style that makes you feel good as always. Let's get started today at stitchfix.com/MLB and get $20 off your first fix. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $20 off. Stitchfix.com, once again, /MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of sign up. And are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and you have to turn down that volume with all the shouting? Make the switch over to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for your everyday to bring you the biggest stories without all that screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you that can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And then once again, Matt and I are introducing that Diamond Club on the Subtext platform, where the link to our Subtext is available in our bio wherever you're watching or listening, or available on all of our social media platforms. Through Subtext, it's going to be your ultimate fantasy baseball companion this season. You can rely on us for dynamic content. You're going to get real alerts right to your phone through text messaging with waiver wire rankings, instant call-up alerts, and injury reactions, and just a lot more than we can offer on this 30-minute episode. So stay ahead of your league by joining the Diamond Club on the Subtext platform, where the path to your victories begin. Subscribe now and elevate your fantasy baseball experience to a new level. All right, guys, and we're back. We're going to be talking, some more prospects here. As I promised, I'm going to throw a couple of starting pitchers your way. Let's talk about somebody that I'm a really big fan of. Let's talk about Jacob Misiorowski, right, of the Milwaukee Brewers. This kid is just really, really talented, and he's been flying up prospect lists everywhere over the past couple of years. I believe it was the Futures game last year or 2 years ago. He really shined. He was striking everybody out. And the stuff was really working that day. And when you do it on a stage like that, it's just it makes you look even better. This guy's 6'7", 190. Jacob Misiorowski. He's got that Tristan McKenzie in him, if you will, that Chris Sale, right? But he's really known for that fastball slider combo. Almost makes you think a little bit of Spencer Strider, right? And this kid hits 102 miles an hour. His slider is nasty, in the 80s. It got, hard and late break to it. You'll love to see that. Like I said, just kind of reminds me of a little bit of Spencer Strider almost. That curveball is +2, by the way. Don't sleep on the kid's curveball either. And like I said, just really been a strikeout machine, doing the same this year. Last year for Misiorowski was a 3.41 ERA, 71 innings with a whopping 110 strikeouts. This year for Misiorowski, 2.70 ERA through 6 starts, 23 innings. He has 36 strikeouts, and it was a 1.11 whip this year and a 1.18 last year for Misiorowski. So really, really good showing in the minors so far. I really love the young, Brewers starting pitching prospect. They over the years, have done really well with starting pitching. You've seen what they did with Woodruff. You've seen what they've done with Freddie Peralta. You've seen what they've done with Corbin Burns. So, the proof is in the pudding there over in Milwaukee. So Misiorowski is a guy that I really, really do love, and I think is going to do great things in the bigs. Let's keep things pushing here, though. Let's talk about my buddy Drew Thorpe. With Drew Thorpe, I think we were talking about him a little bit the other day too. We didn't really deep dive him like I'm going to do today. But, former Yankees prospect went over from the Yankees to the Padres in the Juan Soto trade, and then was traded again really fast over to the Chicago White Sox in the Dylan Cease trade, right? So with Drew Thorpe, though, he's like, I don't mind. I'm still going to keep going out there and, doing my thing. So he's in Double-A this year, right? Right, as I said, in that White Sox organization. 6 starts for Drew Thorpe, a 1.01 ERA, 35 innings, only 9 walks, 33 strikeouts. Batters are hitting 174 against him and an 0.84 whip. Really, not much more you can ask for from the young Drew Thorpe. This is a guy that I really think there's a chance that we could see him sooner than later. That White Sox rotation isn't really rock solid. You got a bunch of older dudes in Clevenger and Fetty's 31. Crochet's had a decent showing so far. I don't really see him moving. Soroka, I could give or take on him. And then Chris Flexen, he's been around a long time, serviceable starting pitcher, but not somebody over head over heels with. So Drew Thorpe is somebody I think we could see later on in the season. You really need to keep your eyes on him. The kid's got really good stuff. And as I said, you kind of just, as a Yankees fan, I'm sure any of the Yankees fan can attest, when we traded him, I know, like I said, as I love Juan Soto, I'm so happy he's here. But Drew Thorpe was somebody I was very excited to see, and if you want to know a little bit about, what he throws, isn't really known for the fastball, more the changeup. His control is very good. He does sit between 91 and 95. If he's on the higher end of that, yeah, that plays. But, on the lower end of that, you really have to be good with your control, and you still got to have some good movement on that fastball. Sliders plus for him, too. So, we'll see how Drew Thorpe develops. But a guy I'm really, really excited about. Let's move on to our last prospect before we move into, some injured stashes. Let's talk about James Wood. And I feel like we've talked about James Wood a lot, but I just want to make sure you guys are, just aware, we're keeping tabs on how good James Wood is performing, right? He kind of just hit the ground running at the beginning of the season and has not looked back. A 339 batting average for James Wood, 31 games. He has 4 homers and 8 steals. And you know what the funny thing is? James Wood is a guy who is kind of more known for his prestigious power, with a 70 grade power grade for the 6'7", 234 outfield prospect. Once again, James Wood, we are talking about here. Just, the Nationals need a guy like this to go pair with the CJ Abrams and, Lane Thomas and these young kids that there's a chance, there's a chance, there's a will, there's a way where this Nationals team can pull it together. They just got to make a few more trades, make a few more good draft picks, and I think there's a chance, man. I'm being super optimistic here today. So with James Wood, though, I'm optimistic that he can, get the call sooner than later, and he'll be super impactful on our fantasy teams, right? So, you need to join us on Subtext where you're going to get those alerts right to your phone with the call-ups of, the James Woods and, the Thorpes and Mizorowskis and the Mayos. So, we'll keep it covered on that. But these are guys that I truly believe are going to show out, get the call sooner than later, and we need to make sure we know who they are. Let me sneak one of these injured guys in here before we hit another quick ad break. Let's talk about Gavin Williams, right? Gavin Williams, it's an interesting one because he did just get pushed over to the 60-day IL. So he is going to be out a little bit. But honestly, I think when Gavin Williams gets back, and he's throwing, he did have a little bit of setback, but he's back and throwing again. So we're not super worried about him. He's 24 when you're younger, recovering from injuries a little bit quicker. And, signs are pointing in the right direction. I promise you, if it was a bigger issue, I'm pretty sure we would have heard about it by now with Gavin Williams. But last year, he was pretty successful, in a short stint in the big 16 starts, 3.29 ERA for Gavin Williams, 82 innings pitched, 81 strikeouts, and a 1.25 whip. Got a little in trouble with, gave up a little too many hits, gave a little too many walks, but it's something that the young Gavin Williams could figure out because, his prospect pedigree is so high. In 2022, 25 starts for Gavin Williams across 2 levels. He had a 1.96 ERA, 115 innings, 149 strikeouts, a sub-1 whip. That's a 0.94 to be exact. Repeated the same thing in 2023 across 2 levels, but that was AAA and AA this time. 12 starts, 2.39 ERA for Gavin Williams, 60 innings, 81 strikeouts. Once again, that sub-1 whip of a 0.97. So this is a kid at 24 years old this year. Once he gets things going, gets over this little bit of an elbow issue, I really think he's going to be, pretty good. And once again, this move to the 60-day AL hasn't really changed anything. It's just it's a business move. They wanted to get somebody else, up onto the roster. It gives them that extra roster spot. Nothing to really be worried about here. And like I said, Gavin Williams, he did resume throwing. So I think he's going to be fine, right? So 48% owned for Gavin Williams, somebody that I'm excited about to see what he does this year, and then even next year, going to be even more excited as long as he can stay healthy. But before we move on, and I give you actually A few more starting pitchers here and some good ones. The state of starting pitching today, that you can never have enough. I do have one more quick ad break for you guys. And guys, we're talking about our friends at Policy Genius. Policy Genius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts are on hand to help you talk through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step. Easily compare quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. Your life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. Policy Genius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. Thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/LockedOnMLB or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. Once again, that's policygenius.com/LockedOnMLB. And then I need to talk to you about DoorDash. This Mother's Day, get something thoughtful for mom on DoorDash. Surprise her from wherever you are with fresh bouquets, the latest tech, gift cards, self-care treats, and more to make her day that much better. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend 15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. Pair flowers with a gift card so she can celebrate any way she wants. Is she a bookworm? Try a bookstore gift card. Does she love a good latte? Get her a gift card to her favorite coffee shop. You can't go wrong. Plus, you get the convenience of shopping on your phone, so you don't have to be the one scrambling, driving around to wherever store it is that you think she might have something she'll like. Trust me, I've been there. Sorry, Mom, it was a long time ago. But order now on DoorDash and get everything you need for Mother's Day. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend 15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's LOCKEDONMLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms do apply. All right, guys. We got a couple more great names for you here, and honestly, this next one is really, really good. I love Drew Rasmussen. Drew Rasmussen is somebody who I think's being overlooked. With all the hype for Jeffrey Springs. I think, like I said, Rasmussen is only 3% owned on Yahoo, and he's, I think a little bit closer than Jeffrey Springs and some of these other guys. Because Rasmussen actually has progressed very well. He's scheduled to pitch an extended game in spring training in May 20th. He did have 2 Tommy Johns already before opting for the brace, but it looks like he's actually bouncing back very, very well. And this is a guy almost threw a no-hitter, very, very talented. The Rays are very good with starting pitching. So with Rasmussen, this is another guy at 3% owned. If you're in one of those deep leagues and you're like, I don't know who to stash, Drew Rasmussen is a guy you really need to take a look at. I'm going to get you those numbers, from when he absolutely, showed out, a couple years back. Honestly, last year through his first 8 starts was really good as well. So let's get you those. Let's do the combined numbers, actually. So this is going to be fun. Let's do 2022 and 2023, right, for Drew Rasmussen. So that's actually almost a full season's worth of numbers, right? So actually, let's check this out. 36 starts, so maybe a little bit more, maybe a couple starts too many. 33 is really like pretty much a full season. So 36 starts for Drew Rasmussen between 2022 and 2023. He went 15 wins, 9 losses, 2.78 ERA, 190 innings, 172 strikeouts, a 104 whip, and a 309 FIP. Once again, FIP is fielding independent pitching. It's an ERA indicator, kind of gives you an idea where the ERA should be rather than where it is. So with an ERA that's that close, with a FIP that's that close to ERA, it's just showing that, okay, it's well deserved, the ERA. And I think Rasmussen at 28 years old this year, right in the prime of his career, I can't stress enough, being severely overlooked with some of these other injured starting pitchers. I actually have to get Rasmussen on a few more of my teams before I get this episode up and posted, because I know as soon as I post this, everyone's going to go out there and, add him. I actually want to do a fun exercise with you guys real quick before we move on to this next guy. I want to see how highly owned Jeffrey Springs is, right? Okay, so not crazy difference, 3-9. Jeffrey Springs is only 9% owned, so actually add Jeffrey Springs too. You know what? That's a bonus name for you guys who stuck around to this point in the episode. Do Springs and Rasmussen. Both of them very great young starting pitchers who can come back from injury and actually be big difference makers on your fantasy teams here in the second half. Let's talk about San Francisco Giant now. Let's talk about Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray is one of more of those veterans. I feel like we've spoken about him on, this episode a couple of times this year. 12% owned, so we're still climbing the ladder here as far as ownership percentage goes. But Robbie Ray has the pedigree of a veteran who's been around a long time. We know we're probably going to get high 3s, low 4s ERA. He'll throw some innings. Once he builds up, he's a guy who can throw innings. So you get some good amount of innings. You get well over that K/9 with him. But also, one of the big problems is he's not going to give you a great whip either. The whip is probably going to be high, especially a guy coming back from injury. You always see it. The control is one of the last things to come back. So it's probably going to be a little bit higher of a whip. But if you're struggling, you're in one of those leagues where there's nobody else around and you just want somebody who's going to strike everybody out, and especially in the second half, actually pitching in San Fran really might give Robbie Ray an opportunity to, have a little bit better of an ERA in a bigger ballpark, but that yet remains to be seen. So Robbie Ray might be a little bit lower on the list of guys that I'm prioritizing here. So we will see. But let's move on to this last guy here before we wrap today's episode up. Let's talk about a Boston Red Sox. We did Nick Pivetta yesterday. Let's do Garrett Whitlock today, right? Boston's been really good with starting pitchers lately, and I really like what I'm seeing, with the Whitlocks, with the Nicky Pavettas, with all these, guys, with the Brian Bayos. I really love to see it so far this year with them. So far, I was going to say Pavetta, but Garrett Whitlock, this year, 4 starts, 1.96 ERA, 18 innings, 17 strikeouts, a 1.14 whip. This was a guy that, they always kind of messed around with starting him. In 2022, he got 9 starts. 2023, he got 10 starts. Did come out of the bullpen, multiple times in those years, and can do it. He really can do it. Garrett Whitlock's got the stuff. He might not be as good as some of these other guys we talked about today as well, but I do like Whitlock. I have him stashed on a few of my teams, and let's get you that ownership percentage on him as well. Garrett Whitlock currently is 30% owned. So once again, we just keep climbing that ladder. But this is a guy who has come out and pitched already this year. We're not really wondering whether it's the talent with him. Just a guy kind of throughout his whole career really hasn't been able to stay on the field, but who has been able to stay on the field today. So with Whitlock, I think he's, definitely somebody that I'm looking to stash. But guys, that's the last name for me today. We are going to be wrapping up. I appreciate you guys hanging in there through, this episode with me. I've been going through a lot lately. As I said, that's why I missed some time. If you guys are a fan, you probably heard already. But, I appreciate y'all hanging in there with me. Shout out to our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. We'll be back, next week. We'll have some great content for you guys. And, once again, join us on the Subtext platform if you want a little bit more than we can offer here in this 30-minute episode. But, guys, until next time, see ya.